Hello and welcome to Living Legacies of the Ozarks. My name is Hayden Head.
And my name is Sue Head, and we're coming to you from the Ralph Foster Museum located on the campus of College of the Ozarks. We are excited today to introduce you to a special friend, Cynthia Carson. Cynthia came to us from California, came to the area. So tell us, what brought you here to Branson, and what was it like raising your family here?
Oh, it was wonderful. So yes, I did come from California. It was via military, moved us around. I had lived in the Midwest for a little bit prior, but then went back and forth, and just remembered the culture here in the Midwest. And my in-laws lived up in Springfield, Missouri. And my greatest desire was for my children to be around grandparents. I had that influence in my life, and it was powerful. And so I wanted that. So we moved here, but I particularly came here to Branson to work, needed work, and specifically because of the hospitality and the care for people. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be here, right? It was fun. But I think mostly is that's where I, as a mama, wanted my children raised in a godly area where there were amazing values, and honestly, community helped each other, right? We all helped raise each other's kids, and to be a part of a community was so important to me. So yeah, landed here and loved getting to be a part of the tourism industry.
So what sort of things did you do in the tourism industry?
Well, when I first came, I was actually working for a travel company where we booked folks coming into town, all over, whether it would be groups or individuals. So like a travel agency, but then had the opportunity to start working for Yakov Smirnoff, Tony Orlando, Wayne Newton, and fell in love with theater industry. And so did my boys. I had 3 boys, and they're very creative, and I knew God had created them with some amazing skill sets that honestly I thought they would have to leave this area. But God opened the doors up then for them to they started working for Sight and Sound Theaters in 2007. They were still building over there, and my 2 boys got on. Actually were interviewed by the founder, Glenn Eshelman, and saw their abilities and talents and brought them on to actually build our sets. So they had to start by even building animal stalls first before they were able to get, the shop up, and then they started building sets.
So how did you come to Sight and Sound Theater?
Well, actually it was through my boys. I had the privilege of moving away from tourism, went into working for a bank, Branson Bank, and it was like the dream job, honestly, I thought. And my boys kept saying, Mama, you need to be in the theater. You need to come back to Sight and Sound. Your gifts that God is using you in, we need you there. And so I did entertain the interview and visited with them. And honestly, I knew from then God had called me to that. The vision there for Sight and Sound was to bring the Bible to life. It was true. I saw my boys working there for a year before I even got there. They were still literally ground, when they started. And so when they brought me on, was to help open up the theater. And it was unlike any other theater that we had worked with, and had the opportunity just to share the gospel of Jesus Christ to millions of people through these years.
Wow.
What is your role there now, Cynthia?
I serve as the general manager. So I have an amazing team. We have about 330 people there. Actually, a little more than that right now. And, with over 50 plus cast members on that stage, that truly their desire is to bring the Bible to life by who we are and what we do. So we like to teach and train that. It's not just on that stage. It's outside those 4 walls. And so we help each other grow and encourage one another to understand that the gifts that God has given each of us is not just for this moment right here where I'm working and that's how you see me. No, it's my life outside of here too. So it's amazing ministry, not just only on the stage.
Now, I imagine that most of our visitors to Branson and to this area are familiar with Sight and Sound, But for those who aren't, I mean, you've already given a good description of bringing the Bible to life. Can you give us a sense of the scope of Sight and Sound?
Yeah, that's it's big. It's big.
It's huge.
It's huge. And the thing is like because of the stories that we get to tell, so often are large, right? Large scale and just big stories. But it's not that. It's just everything that we do with our stories are done in-house pretty much. I would say 99% of all work, from writing, from the artistry, engineering, the building the sets, building our costumes, the cast, everything is done within our own crew. So we have over 800 employees altogether between our locations. We actually started in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania in 1976. Glenn and Shirley Eshelman opened up the first theater out there. And actually, when they got married, he was just a dairy farmer. And so he says from, producing milk to now producing entertainment is like how you never know where God takes you, right? And what God's using you to do in your life. And so it's been really incredible to see what Sight and Sound has become. So not only are we live theater, we've grown to, we have a digital platform now. Wonderful COVID. COVID did that for us. And so we are so grateful that we had that opportunity to open up into the digital platform. And so you can see all of our productions right there on Sight and Sound TV.
Really? And where would one find Sight and Sound TV?
So on sight-sound.com, you can find it, or at sight-sound.tv. So also,
Gotcha.
Yes. And then we're now launching into films. So we're in the middle, or just starting filming a second film. And, the idea is like, God calls us to do all kinds of cool things, right? It's about sharing the gospel. And for a long time, we kept thinking growth meant another location. Well, maybe growth isn't just another location. Maybe it is someday. But growth can be all kinds of things. So hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people have seen the productions that we have the opportunity to produce on TV now, in DVD forms. They go into countries, hundreds of countries that have represented it to show where our productions have been.
So tell us about the response from your audience. I'm sure all kinds of people come with varying levels of biblical knowledge. And tell us about some of the reactions you've had from people in the audience.
Well, my most favorite thing is to watch children, right? So when you're in this, so our shows are created for whether they're 3 to 103. It is meant for family. And but my most favorite thing is to actually watch a child in awe and wonder, whether they see an animal, because we have live animals in our productions. We have animatronic animals in our productions. One of the coolest things is with Queen Esther right now. There is an elephant. And I cannot tell you how many people have called us and said, why do you have a live elephant in captivity? And it's not. It's an amazingly created animatronic animal that is ridden. It has 16 access points and various things, but it looks real. But when you see those animals come out, or you see children, their mouths, like, it was like, I wish all of us had that sense of wonder and awe always. And one time I was sitting next to another child, and Jesus came out, and that little child just yelled out, "That's my Jesus." And it was silent in there, so her little voice just echoed. And it just, it shows like the power of story is so important in our lives. And we can all tell a story, right? We can tell a bad story, we can tell a good story. Our guests leave with story. Whether, a agent is treating them poorly or treating them well, they're going to go home with a story. Mm-hmm. So our prayer is that through all of our teams, when guests come onto our property, they're treated with utmost respect and honor, and treated as if they're coming into your own personal home. And we care for them. We meet their needs. We serve them. We smile at them. And, we want them to feel like, this is the most special place I could have ever come to.
Yeah. And don't forget the cinnamon pecans. because
Absolutely.
that always makes a guest feel welcome.
So good.
Oh my goodness. I love that smell when you walk in.
I do too.
And
It's so
it feels
good.
like home, doesn't it?
It does.
And
It really does.
We'll remember that.
So Queen Esther is wrapping up in October.
It is.
that right?
It is. And as the size and the scale and scope of our productions, it takes us a good 3 weeks to get everything all off stage, get rehearsals going. So we're down for the month of October, and then we'll start back up in November with Miracle of Christmas during 2024. But it's a pretty big deal, to take shows on and off that stage, as large as they are.
Can't imagine.
When you perform or present Miracle of Christmas, is that the same Christmas production that you've done from the beginning, or do you have different versions or iterations of that as time goes by?
Yes, so there's been some tweaks to it. We have directors that come in from our Lancaster location. We don't necessarily have our theater director here. They come back and forth and lead our cast. We have assistant directors here. But yes, they'll come back sometimes and they'll say, oh, maybe we're going to tweak it up a little or enhance it, change maybe a costume or two or something like that. So there's definitely at times at the discretion of the director, casting team, or producing team, I should say, to be able to, tweak it if they need to. But predominantly, it's been this story that we've had, and it's been powerful and become a real tradition. We don't get to perform it every year. So it was here 2 years ago, and we'll have it this year. And we never know if we're going to bring it back. We're in that process as
Can you
business
give us
decisions.
a sneak peek of next year's show?
Yes, I sure can. So in 2025, we are excited to say that we're bringing to the Branson stage a debut of our show, David.
Right.
So it is powerful. In fact, last week on Sight and Sound TV, last weekend, we were able to have it air as a gift. We had it free, and 1.1 million households tuned in to watching David. So we're really excited to see the power of that story. And David's life was not perfect, was it?
No.
And, and we're not either. But God used him in a mighty way. And what is exciting is to see how that story resonates. You're going to pick up something different from the story. You're going to pick up something different. But our hope is that the Spirit is working in lives, and His Word, we know, never goes void. And we believe that people will walk out with something that God intended for them to have that moment at that given time.
Cynthia, we are so grateful for your sharing your story of coming to Branson and the Sight and Sound. The impact it's had on our region and on our country has been really tremendous. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for tuning in to Living Legacies of the Ozarks. Please have a good day.
Living Legacies of the Ozarks is brought to you by Ozark Mountain Legacy, College of the Ozarks, First Presbyterian Church of Branson, the Herschend Family Foundation, Meyer Hotels, and Sight and Sound Theaters.